I mean, so anti-Semitism in the UK, if you go back to the kind of late 19th, early 20th century, the main form it was taking would be kind of anti-immigration kind of ideas against kind of Jewish people who were coming from Eastern Europe and from Russia, who were kind of fleeing pogroms and kind of violence against them in Eastern Europe and Russia. They moved to the UK kind of early 20th century, and there was a lot of opposition to Jewish immigration at that point.
We came from the Jewish faith. We were started by Jewish apostles. The Bible's Jewish, so we owe everything to the Jewish people. And so through the years and the centuries, it turned into expulsions. It turned into pogroms and massacres throughout Europe. These things build up. I noticed, there was a war in 2014 in Israel, in 2021. Before then, and anti-Semitism, the levels were doing this every time. And you can see that it's done it again. It's gone up again with this war.
I think the impression I got in the immediate aftermath of October the 7th, because I think the thing that really struck me is that, there were protests that were being organised against Israel on the very day of October the 7th in the UK. So that they were going to protest like the day after or the evening of protesting against Israel on the very day where this stuff had happened, where this horrendous attack had happened. And I get the impression that for a lot of Jewish people, one of the things that they found very difficult to deal with initially was just the absolute lack of empathy or recognition of what had happened by a lot of people, right? It was just either pretending it hadn't happened, or pretending it wasn't a big deal, or in some ways kind of saying, well, they kind of deserved it.
Look at how they constantly harass Jewish students. I mean, a lot of Jewish students in this country at universities are very afraid right now. We've seen over the past year and a half calls for intifada, which is the violent uprising against Jews and Israelis. Signs and chants calling from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, which many interpret as a call to wipe Israel off the map.
Many people start off believing they are the humanitarians, they believe they are fighting against injustice. What it's turned into is this an atmosphere in the nation where Jewish people can't go to London on the weekend, where Jewish people are forced to hide their symbols of their Jewishness in case they're attacked and accosted.
Part of what we do is polling. We polled the Jewish community in Britain, and our polling has revealed that 58% of British Jews would hide their Jewishness due to anti-Semitism. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that anti-Semitism is prevalent enough that it's making the majority of British Jews feel as though they need to mask their identity. That's completely unacceptable. So I'm going to go back to the IHRA definition, the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. One of the examples is holding Jews responsible for the actions of the Israeli government. What Israel does is what Israel does. And if you don't like that, take it up with them. You don't start harassing a Jew in Golders Green or Edgware or Hendon or Finchley because you're saying, well, you, a random Jewish person who may never have been to Israel, I don't even know your views on Israel, but you're Jewish, I'm holding you responsible. I'm holding you accountable for this thing I don't like.
We did an event in Glasgow where we gathered people to show support for Israel, but mainly to show, to stand against anti-Semitism, which was happening a lot, all over the country. And there was a Holocaust survivor, and he shared, and this actually underlines everything I'm saying. This is important. He said it feels like he was a Holocaust, an amazing man, very elderly, you can imagine. And he was going around schools, but I think his health is. But he came all the way to Glasgow from Brighton, and he got up on the platform and he said, with sincerity. It was emotional. And he said, it feels like the 1930s again. That's what it feels like. As he said that, somebody walked past and yelled out at the Holocaust survivor, "Genocidal beep." That's where we're at. A Holocaust survivor accused of being a genocidal so-and-so.
What is Zionism? Well, as I said, Zionism is the belief that Jews have the right to self-determination in their indigenous homeland. So is it anti-Semitic to be anti-Zionist?
I definitely think there are some forms of anti-Zionism which are essentially just the cover for anti-Semitism, right? And you just change the word Jew for Zionist or Zio-fascist or Zio-Nazi or whatever, and you just say, well, as soon as I've changed the word, then that's fine. And I think that I do think that definitely exists. At another level, there is a distinction between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism in the sense of it is possible to be anti-Zionist without being anti-Semitic.
So I went to Hyde Park and handed out free yellow ribbons for passers-by. Someone else next to me had a big sign, said, "Bring them home." We engaged people in conversation, explained what this was about. Pretty much everyone was happy to take. One group of women said, "Thank you very much," took it, walked away, came back and said, "Sorry, just what hostages are these for?" I said, the Jewish hostages are being held in Gaza by Hamas. I said, "Oh, sorry, no," and they handed it back. Hi.
Can I ask which hostages are you talking about?
The hostages taken by Hamas on October
no,
7th.
thank you, I'm fine.
Oh, you don't want them?
Sorry.
Oh, really? Can I ask why?
Then you get that kind of general anti-Zionist. It's almost like a common sense amongst a lot of the liberal left, and particularly in universities and the kind of educated milieus of the country, where just anyone who has a different perspective on Israel or Zionism is kind of treated as someone who you shouldn't really engage with or taken seriously, or treated as something, there's almost something wrong with them.
My message to non-Jewish people is listen to your Jewish friends, hear what they have to say, reach out to us if you want to learn, to help, if you want to learn more about anti-Semitism. We're more than happy. If you want to volunteer with us, we would love to have volunteers.
I do think, actually, just on a very basic level, just recognizing that there is a problem, right? That people aren't making it up. There is a problem.
And I think for a non-Jewish person, I think this is a great time to get their voice heard. More people who speak out, it gives everyone else more courage, because I know and I truly believe there is a silent majority that do actually stand with us against this hate.
Educate yourself, follow us on socials, be part of the conversation. Stick up for your Jewish friends, stick up for your Jewish neighbors, stick up for your fellow Jewish citizens. We're all in this country together. This country is one big house that we all need to coexist in. And unfortunately, we have some roommates who want to make it a bad time for the rest of us. We can't allow that. So stand beside us, help us. If you don't know how to help us, contact us and we will guide you, we will help you.